Hey everybody, it's Bust. Battles with Bust number 308, and today we're doing battle with Fiora Vayne. And so, before we take a moment to stop and talk about Fiora Vayne and what we're trying to do with this deck, I wanted to take a moment and talk about where the meta is sitting right now. And this is day 2 of the 4.2 patch, and it is heavily defined by the Blocking Badgerbear. That's a card that we're going to be playing in our deck today, and with Elites being the most successful meta deck at the moment right now, you've probably seen quite a few of these as well. And so the way that the metas typically shape up right after the release of a balance patch or a new set of cards are the aggro decks tend to be really successful. And so as your opponent's out there trying to figure out the correct number of new cards to play, figure out if Atrocity is garbage now, whatever, things like Legion Rearguard get to sweep in and just crush all of those decks. But the Blocking Badgerbear throws a real wrench in that, as it single-handedly shuts down the vast majority of the Noxus-based aggro decks. And so with very little adjustment whatsoever, the Elites deck has been able to come in and shut down the aggro decks of the format. And since it's a deck that was fairly popular before the release of the 4.2 patch, it was a very easily updatable deck to just be like, oh, I will include this giant keyworded monster in here now. And so my kind of opinion is the Elites deck will fall off. If you want to play Elites yourself, I feel like you have to be playing Brown Elites like we suggest, where you play Rite of Negation, as the deck is pretty easily counterable. Elites has a real struggle with cards like Buried in the Ice and Ruination, and I suspect those style of cards are going to start creeping their way into the format as the Elites deck doesn't really handle them well. And so with that thought, that idea in mind, that's what brings us back to Fiora Vayne. And so I've been doing a bit of Demacia-ing myself. I'm really excited to also play the Blocking Badgerbear, and I've been trying to fit it in a few different shells. And so one of the places I initially went with the Badgerbear was looking at Aatrox Vayne. And so we aren't playing Aatrox here today, but one of the things I really liked about Aatrox Vayne was the access to the Darken Harp along with all of the challengers. As you're playing against something like Elites, doesn't really play much interactivity. They might play a Ranger's Resolve or two, they might play a Sharpsight or two, they might play a single combat or two, they might have a Concerted Strike or two, but at the end of the day, they aren't playing much interactivity. And so if you're able to start getting these quick attack challenges with the Darken Harp and the little birds, that is something that works out quite nicely and quite well. It's a strong attack pattern against the Elites. The second thing here, as the best of 3 daily rumbles are kind of running around, I was looking to play Quinn in Scouts, and so without playing Quinn, without access to Quinn and Aatrox Vayne, I did want to fit in another unit, and that was Fiora. And so just kind of by happenstance, we got Fiora into the deck, and I have really started to enjoy Fiora in this format. It's a format to where the decks with big units don't have much interactivity like Elites. The control decks of the format tend to have a bunch of shitty small units in them, and she can pick on those. But the kind of key removal spells of the format don't kill 4 health units. And so the last kind of unit piece that I'm really excited with this deck is the access to all of the 4 health units. They can do things like survive a shock blast. And so we're going to have access to Fiora, the Badgerbear, which is down here in the lab secrets, the Blood Cursed Harpy, and then the Sometimes Combat Cook. It's pretty easy for that improvised weapon with the Forge on it to take it up to 4 or 5 health. And so I really like the place that a lot of these units are sitting in. And so that's the kind of key and core ideas of the deck. We have this great quick attack challengers package. We have all of these meaty units. We still get a lot of interactivity with the likes of Fish Fight, Cataclysm, and Condemn. The Fish Fights and Condemns also tie back in to being useful with Fiora, giving her access to additional strikes. And we have a nice little kind of anti-mid-range package that we're running out here with today. The last card down here in the second lab secret, the one that's not quite updated yet on the LOR Master site, is Formula. I've been pretty happy with Formula in this deck. It's one to where if your draws don't go exactly well, or if your opponent's able to interact with you pretty well, you run out of stuff to do. And so if you play a bird, and then you put a weapon on it, and then your opponent kills it, and you say, "Oh F," so I better play another bird, and then you put the weapon back on it. You might only have 2 or 3 cards in your hand at that point, and there's not a lot left to do. And so the card draw that comes out of Formula is quite nice. Gives us a little bit more late game punch if things aren't quite going well with the Blood Cursed Harpy or with a Striatu off of the Darkened Harp. And so that's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. But you know what we got to do before the battles begin. We got to go and pay the pay-to-win price. And where are you at? Where are you at, Badgerbear? Here it is. Go ahead and get that bro premiumed up, just like you deserve. It hurts a little bit not making the Demacia card premium as our first one. We did that banana bro in our last video, but we get to make up for it here a little bit. And man, I was thinking to myself yesterday, as like I kind of had the brewing thoughts going in my head, the new deck ideas flowing around, and it was like, man, they didn't even print a Noxus card. And I felt so bad for that little spider thing, that the spider that the 3/6 through 6 or whatever it is, and it's just like I have no desire to play this dumb. So it's painful. It's painful being a lover of the aggros, seeing the Badgerbear get printed, and then Noxus not getting any really cool tools out of the new cards. Alright, but up here against Heimerdinger Jace, I don't want to throw our Blinding Assault just directly into his units and have it get blown up. And so we have a need to spend a little bit more mana now, but like it's a pretty heavy mana investment if we drop the Blinding Assault and then put an equipment on it, and then he just Vile Feasts it down. Here, I do like picking up the quick attacks. We have a harp in hand, but we have a lot of opportunities for multiple strong quick attack units out here. Now we have the choice. I'm leaning towards dropping in the Darkened Aegis onto the bird. We can always switch this up later, but again, I don't want it just dying to a Vile Feast. Quietus on, is that on the equipment or on the bird? He goes on the bird. Okay. All right, now we can try and get our first taste of battle here with Fiora if we would like, or we can just look towards Vayne. And I think Fiora is okay. If she gets popped by a Vengeance, it's not the end of the world. I get in there, bro. Piltover and Castaway bringing the damages. Opponent's only got 5 mana this turn as well, so it really limits what they're able to do. No. Fiora number 2. Is that what we want to go for? I would just wish we had like a little bit more protection for her if that's who we were going to be dropping. It's a pretty reasonable option though. We also could start looking to play Vayne to get the tumbles rolling. Let's just play Fiora. See if he tries to bring the attack in. It's kind of an interesting space next turn. I'm half considering bringing up the Darkened Aegis as Giral, so he can't quite interact with us in combat. It's an interesting space for it to be in. All right, Reggie comes in and he takes the 3 bank. That's fine. Nice little interactive suite out here again. We'll see if he's going to drop a Hex Obliterator or something onto Fiora. Sure is. Pick that one up off of Reggie. Shit. The game disconnected or something. Alright, Piltover and Castaway, what are you bringing for us? I'm not real interested in Upcycled Rake, but the upside to picking the Rake is we do have Vayne in hand, and if you tumble a scout unit on your opponent's attack token, you get the attack token back. So has a little bit of value there, but it doesn't play too well with the remainder of our units. Alright, let's battle. Shouldn't have to worry about too much here. A Quietus would have been annoying, but if he's going to say Mystic Shot or Broadwing, it's still going to get that one attack, quick attack into the Forge Chief. All right, so not a bad board. We're getting to the spot to where we can look to start dropping. We can look to start dropping the big units, the Darkens. Did just pick up the Blood Cursed Harpy though. This is a spot where I'm kind of interested in bringing Striatu back to our hand. So how bad is it if this fish fight fails? And I don't think it's that bad, right? If he has a 3-mana removal spell to drop onto our Broadwing, we're just going to take a couple points of damage. It's not that big of a deal. But now we'll be in this space next turn to where we can open with the Blood Cursed Harpy. He's going to have to do something. And then we can play the Striatu for our second attack. I dig it. Nice late game formula as well. Pay 2 mana, draw 3. Not a bad deal. Going for the Transmogulator, huh? At least we still get to maintain the quick attack, right? So it's still a pretty relevant unit here. Another fantastic way to draw some cards. What do we got? A 1-mana Vayne and a 0-mana Blinding Assault? Not bad. We're most likely going to get that attack token back on the next turn. Let's go ahead and drop the bird. You're free. You're free, my friend. Let's not waste an action on that. More formulas. Cards for days. We're going to be the ones out here teaching old Heimerdinger Jace a thing or two about card advantage. Say, I got you, fam. I got some knowledge you can have on how to draw a card or two.
Demons walk among us, masquerading as men.
All right, Jace turning up. We're gonna go ahead and kill him. RFP. Market a victory for Team Vayne. All right, not bad. Sentinel's work is never done. I hear you. All right, the battles have begun. On to round 2. Let's see what turns up. Right, what do we got here? Zoe Aphelios with Freylord. Curious what shenanigans are about to unfold there. With this, let's hang on to the Darkened Harp and then look for a challenger. Found a bird. Okay. Get in there, bird. Tell Zoe you weren't scared. You weren't scared of nothing. Freylord Targon. I'm curious if this is going to be some kind of ramp deck. I would assume that we're seeing the mana bank like this. We're probably just going to run into a Spirits Unleashed. So let's go ahead and throw down our attack. I don't want to play the Darkened Harp and then just have the Spirits Unleashed kill all of our stuff. Right, we can try things here with Fiora. It's a pretty strong looking Fiora. I mean, we have the Fiora, the Harp, and now 3 strike cards. So we got some real potential for booms if he if he actually plays a unit. If he plays a unit instead of just dropping all the Spirits Unleashed over and over again, then we might have to worry. I'm just gonna bring it though. We're just gonna swing for the fences. Say who needs a combat Fiora when you got 4 strikes in your hand? Who needs it? Who needs it, fam? All right, drop a little formula, get some of those manas back, and then I think we can drop. Well, if we drop Cataclysm, it has a lot of potential for failure. Let's just bring in the fish fight. I'm curious with the gem crafter. It's like, I know we're out here playing Fiora, and I think Fiora has a pretty good spot in this environment, but I'm curious if there isn't a better angle to where. LOL, I can block elusives. I wonder if there's not like a Targon angle with Fiora that would be a little bit stronger. Interesting, he just advertises it. All right.
Only a fool would enter battle unprepared.
See if we can't get those flips. Only a fool would enter battle unprepared, bro. All right, level 2 Fiora coming at you. She says, I got this, fam. I got this. I'm ready to flip. Give me them flips. Too bad we already got the lethal on the board, but we'll see. He could have a heal 2 or something to get out of this, have a frostbite to get out of it. I was curious if we weren't going to finish that with... have him play the combat trick and then we get the 2 strikes with Fiora. That would have been pretty sweet. We had the Cataclysm Condemn in hand, so we could have attacked. That was 1. Cataclysm was count as 2, and then we could have played the Condemn on the cheap. Good stuff. What do we got now? Is this Renekton Gwen? Okay, I was about to say it was Shadow Isles, and then I realized Gwen was in the Shadow Isles, so that piece makes sense. That piece makes sense. I don't think we want to hang on to the Blinding Assaults here. Like if he's really coming at us with a bunch of hallowed units, then we're going to need a little bit more meat. I don't want to just play one of those Blinding Assaults and have it immediately trade out with whatever the opponent's doing. So picking up the Broadbear, picking up the Vayne, that looks pretty strong to me. Could have gone for the hook into here, right? We could have played the Blinding Assault and then played Catch onto the Aegis and survived, but it doesn't strike me as being ultra strong. We're going to get domed here for about 6, but we're a little bit more prepared to dealing with the active Fiora. Alright, now I could see just giving the Badgerbear +1/+1, since we are kind of looking to drop Fiora on the upcoming turn, but I think getting the equipment down so that we can use these fish fights is going to be a little bit more efficient than just the +1/+1. We don't have to keep in mind the Fiora OTKs all the time, right? This is one of those things... we were calling it the intangibles, right? The things that you get out of using Fiora, as to where we know, we have the knowledge if we're going to be really pressing for OTKs, to where opponent doesn't. They don't know the makeup of our hand. They have to kind of deduce whether or not this is a just kind of bait Fiora. This is just kind of a, you know, if she's doing strong stuff, great, but I don't expect to kill Fiora, or if it's going to be the real deal, swinging for the fences kind of version. All right, this guy's about to get boomed. You can gain your 5 or whatever. Don't think that's worth a block, and then we get to follow up with Fish Fight. That'll flip our Fiora. Hopefully you don't have to worry about OTKs and stuff coming in. I assume that's why you're playing Renekton, right? You're going to have Renekton. He gets all the hallowed stuff. Maybe you play a supercharge on him or something to give him spell shield and try and get an OTK. What it strikes me is happening.
Demons walk among us, masquerading as
All
men.
right, well, let's see what we can do. He's got to have to kind of backpedal here, right? And if he takes this a little bit too slow, then we're going to be able to just tempo him down with some of these burn spells. Okay. So this is a must block for him. If he doesn't block Fiora, she's going to get that 6 damage of lethal. It's also going to give her the 3rd tick up she needs to try an OTK. So we don't have the mana for Condemn. Oh shit, we were 1 short. I thought she was about to lethal. Whoops. Still in a pretty good spot, one must admit. I thought you were just going to pop him, girl. It's close. It's close.
Nothing to fear.
Nothing to fear.
Sharp blade, sharp mind.
All right, so we don't want to be in a spot here to where we do something with this Condemn, and then he, I don't know, has a kill spell, whatever kill spell that would be, a Thread the Needle to kill off our Fiora. So we definitely want to push a block up in front of Gwen before we play any of these cards. Quicksand is kind of brutal. But definitely glad we got those blocks in here. This shouldn't be a deck that's able to come on with more strength after that. So I think we're still relatively safe, even though losing Fiora is a bit of a bummer. All right, so we'll drop the Combat Cook, give him the Overwhelm. I'm just looking towards the Blinding Assaults now. If he plays like a 6th cost unit, a Ruin Runner, perfect example. We can play both Blinding Assaults, hook all of his units out of combat, hopefully be safe from there. I just started to think of Cataclysm. It's like I see the Overwhelm on board, and I was like, oh shit, he's going to Cataclysm into one of our 1 health units, but not the way the game works today.
Purified bolts.
I think this is okay. Trying to envision how this goes wrong. It's tough for it to go wrong with 2 mana, but I think we want to make him block with Gwen there. Maybe not. Maybe we should have made him block with the
Now to root out the next phase.
Overwhelm unit, so that if he was going to survive the attack, we can kind of deal with Gwen on the next turn. We can throw a block in front of her, but probably wouldn't have had the health to survive a Hallowed Ruin Runner. All right, though, not bad. Victory achieved. On to the next one. Gotta find us a real good opponent. Says, where are all the elites at? We can't be the only one playing Badgerbears out there. We'll see. We'll see. I want to get one of these pick and ban best of 1 standard kind of things out there. I might have a second video coming out later today. I 6-0'd one in the previous day by just playing triple Demacia. I was playing the triple Badgerbear deck and had a pretty good success. And so we'll see if we continue on with that. I was playing Scouts as the 3rd deck. I was playing our brown elites with the Rite of Negations, Aatrox Kane, and then or Aatrox Vayne, and then I was playing Scouts. It's kind of interesting. You just like the weakness with Scouts these days is in do we want to wait around? My concern here is if we equip up the tracker and then he hate spikes. I guess it's not that big of a deal. But no, Scouts is like traditionally bad against decks like Elites, decks like Daybreak Leona, and being able to just ban the Elites deck was kind of nice. And then I like that space that it left you in to where you could say like start just playing Stony Suppressor decks, right? if you're up against something like a really heavy like Rise lineup and Annie Ezreal and stuff, just having that Stony Suppressor deck tucked into the mix struck me as being pretty exciting. All right, we can get a pretty heavy challenger set going here, though. We can drop the double Broadwing this turn. On the next turn, we can look to... shit, he get quick attack and all that stuff? Damn, dude. The next turn, we can look to just get blinding assaults going. We don't... I guess he doesn't have challenger yet, right? We can technically block this elusive, but we'll try to mess with him next turn. Do we want to stop there? I think we're going to have to say Blinding Assault the Harp. That's definitely happening, but we're looking towards this Catch. This is the last one. I think we'd go ahead and drop the Broadwing. It's tough for him to... Well, it's tough for him to have a second Hate Spike, right? It's not that tough for him to have some kind of Demacia-based removal. I'm curious what he's going to be coming at us with. He's got something. You don't just pass on 7 mana. I guess maybe you do. He knew we had the harp, but it all seems good.
Don't get in my way.
Brings in Lucian. Okay. There's the hate spike. All right. So the next interesting thing with this board is we can Broadwing hook his Broadwing. If we want to give one of our guys quick attack, right? We can quick attack, hit the Broadwing. It's going to shrink, and then on its strike back, not kill our birds. I don't think that's where we want to be. That doesn't strike me as being incredible. Alright, see where that gets us. The double hate spike was fairly brutal. But this here is what I was talking about in terms of wanting to have those improvises, right? We don't have a lot of stuff left to do. We have the Darkened Harp that can turn into Striatu here in a little bit, but outside of that, our hand is getting pretty empty. So just getting those really cheap draw twos at this stage of the game is downright beautiful. And so that's why I started to include the improvises in the deck. I'm not certain on the numbers, the total number that we have in here, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to be a good one. And so let's see if we can't get some of this bird action going. Third time's a charm, right? The third challenger bird's got to be able to get it done. And hate spike. The fuck, scrap shot. Okay, I guess. Not much more you can say about that. Alright, well, let's get Giral in. I'm fine to trade the Broadwing for the Lucian. We can send Giral into the Domination. And then I think if he gets interactive with our Badgerbear, I'm okay with that. Like, we're getting close to where we could get lethaled. And so if we get to take the Broadwing down to 1 health before we drop back-to-back Striatus, that feels pretty decent. Got him ground down to 2 cards, though. That's pretty nice. The fuck is this shit? Protective Broodfather. And it has Challenger? Doesn't have Scout, though, right? Right. Do we want to go ahead and just drop him? I don't think so. That doesn't seem awesome. Always thought this guy had Scout.
I know a place.
Alright, well, let's awaken the Darkened Saga, do a little bit of draw 4. Hopefully that's enough at this point, man. He's had the answer at every turn. Let's see if he's got the answer to all of this. Alright, Badgerbear, Formula. Ooh, Formula's pretty good when it when it only costs 4 mana. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Now we can Cataclysm a Striatu into the Protective Broodfather, draw a couple more cards.
You are nothing. Worth
I dig it.
impress me.
Come in with the Badgerbear. Make sure that we have the blocker for this Broadwing. All right, all right. How the turns have tabled, am I right? How the turns have tabled. Darkened Saga domination right there, if you will. Is that even one of the sets? Is that even one of the sets? Awakening, domination, world ender? I don't know. Probably. It probably is. Alright, Broodfather number 2. Probably want to just go ahead and condemn that. Oh, yeah, okay, we're big enough. I don't imagine there's a lot of like dragon hitting and getting kills that way, but that's how we lose the game, right? Is if he gets some kind of really ridiculous go at it with this Protective Broodfather. Okay.
Monsters still lurk in Demasia's every shadow.
Sure. We'll keep doing some stuff, right? Keep doing stuff. So what we'll look to do on the next turn, doesn't look like opponent's gonna concede just yet. You can attack. We can leave our bird back because we don't want it to die, but we can attack. That's our normal attack for the turn. And since we haven't made a scout attack yet, you can still tumble the bird and then get the attack token back. Pretty confident that's accurate. Maybe it's not, but I think it is. I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. Just don't tell anybody I'm wrong, right? Number 1 player in the world at FTP Bust, according to ftpbust.com. Can't be sounding wrong in front of my legions of fans. All right. Up against Ultrastana Teemo, another deck that, you know, has me pretty interested in playing stuff like Fiora. I don't expect to see too much of this thing running around anymore, but as a deck that just throws down a whole bunch of shitty units, having access to Fiora gives you a lot of OTK possibilities. Nothing better than a little OTK possibility. Sure. I wanted to get the Castaway down so that we could darken Aegis our Fiora next turn, but I think getting the shutdown with Vayne and then following up with Fiora is fine. Like, if he wants to Buster Shot Vayne, I think it's okay. Taking a Vengeance is fine. We did just pick up our second Fiora, so we have another angle to go after that. But again, we're not a really big, super hardcore OTK style deck. We're just looking to present the threat. We can certainly have it hit on occasion, but it's not the most important thing.
I long for a worthy opponent.
Someday, these young scouts could be Vandalwood gunners. Scouts?
I wonder. I mean, we have to start worrying about something like Pokestick taking down our Fiora. So let's drop in the Darken Aegis here, and then we can look to use the Darken Harp next turn. We can switch and swap things around if we need to.
Strike quickly, try me.
Walloped. Okay. Not very cool, dude. Not very cool. Alright, so we'll take the Rake. I don't want to have any of our units be unblockable here. Gonna play this other Castaway. You got a quick attack in here. That sounds fantastic. And then now we can look to fish fight something. Probably the Tristana. Not ultra worried about this Teemo, right? This isn't a Teemo build around deck. He's gonna squeeze in some damage for certain, but he's not our ultimate concern at the end of the day. Now we do have this pretty nice setup to where we can tumble our Vayne, see what happens, have the Cataclysm, maybe get some big plays happening out here. Hashtag LCS big plays right here. I'm sure they still have that going. Oh shit, should we have just tumbled our Castaway? It's like typically a little scary given that they can like Pokestick the 1 health unit. But we did have the Riposte in hand. So maybe we missed a little bit there. There's the Vengeance. Okay.
Everything I've worked for. By my honor, you must die.
Alright, all the Fioras today. I'm eyeballing this tumble. It's like I know we have the potential to do something with it, but not quite ready to go for it. We get this attack off here. This is going to flip our Vayne as well. All right, here comes the fun squad. There's the Pokestick. Alright. No fixing that. Or Teemo. Okay. Maybe we should have dropped the equipment here since the tumble's gonna start to be free. But it seems like we're in a pretty okay spot. Uh-oh. Flipped Teemo. Again, I would like to see him spend some mana. I mean, what are the... Oh, wow, double group shot, huh? I was going to say, like, what are the realistic chances we ever get a safe tumble off of the castaway? It's like never. We never do. So let's take the rake. We'll put the rake onto the Giral. Now, Giral should be pretty safe, right? All of these units are pretty small. Nothing he has at the moment can take it down in combat. And then this should get us the scouts pretty easily, right? Alright, we feel a lot safer now, don't we? We do. We do. Uh-oh, what was your last one? Are you going to play Atrocity? What is it? What could it be? We can Darken Harp here, though. Oh, does that destroy the equipment? F. I was like, alright, well, we're set to go with this Striatu. Not the case. Not the case. Alright, dude, well, pot full of pain. Here they come.
Just kill me.
Alright. The battles continue. Never-ending excitement. Never-ending. I think with this amount of stuff in hand, he might be able to just clear out his entire board and finally get a kill. Might be able to get a tumble kill off of Vayne. Do we even want to bother with it like this? Let's take it a little slower so we don't actually lose out on any units. I want that Striatu back, man. That's this is just that perfect spot for that card draw to be coming through. Sure.
You never.
Yeah, man, gotta make a sad noise. All right, well, I think he's gonna get out of this turn. I don't see any way around this. Get these attacks in, clear out the board. He follows up with one more unit. We get to tumble. He has to block the tumble, but he's gonna lose out on his dudes. We'll tumble in the Fleet Feather Tracker. Third Pokey Stick. Well, I guess you can play the third Pokey Stick, but then lose the game. All right, all right, all right. GG. Not a bad day for Fiora and friends. Next battle. It's not so much about the skill as much as having the pool party skin on the pool party board. If you're not familiar with paying to win, that's what it's really all about. Is getting those pool party boards and everything together. So much fun. We ought to just cut the veins for Draven or something, right? That's sensible. That's sensible. What do we got? We're up against the Fearsome's deck, so we need really early game stuff here. I could see like a minor argument for hanging on to Vayne, but we really need to be getting a quick attack. Badgerbear is quite interesting here as well. He shuts down as a 2-for-1 on his own. Well, let's get to battle. And say if we can take down a Fearsome with our Fleet Feather Tracker, that's fine. We have other challengers running around, and we don't have our quick attack items yet, so just go ahead and get that dum-dum off of the board. The longer this game goes on, the better shape we should be in. Until he plays the Harrowing, right? There's always a caveat. Oh, this attack is terrible. Sure. Nice. So we should be able to control the board regardless of what unit he adds. We have the good hit with the Broadwing. Now we get the combat cook in as well. Here's a quick attack. We've unfortunately can't really get it down on onto our challenger, but don't need it at the moment. All right. The Mist Wraith comes in. I ain't scared. Ask me if I'm scared. Bust, you scared? Nah. Nah, man. All right, looking good. Looking good. Taking our first points of damage. We do have the sweet combos now with our blinding assaults and the fix 'em up 5,000. I dig it. So the fresh question is, do we want to get Vayne onto the board and then tumble off the equipment? I don't think we do. Because we just picked up the Darkened Harp, we can use that as our secondary equipment here. But I think if we didn't pick up the second quick attack, then we would probably want to... we would probably want to do that tumble kind of play. But we're pretty well set now, right? He needs a Wraith Collar. It's threatening lethal at this point. Come and get it. Not a bad round of combats. Now we can do the Scout tumble onto Valor, get that attack token back. Hopefully that'll be enough to end the game. Look out, Callista. Here comes the party. Says, uh-oh. Party coming at me. Oh, shit. Interesting. Soul Cleave. Alright, well. GG. Not bad. Not bad.
A sentinel's work is never done.
Sentinel's work is never done. Preach it. Alright, battle number 7 coming in. Good set. Good set. Whew. So man, I've been watching this documentary on the old Netflix about golf. I don't care about golf. I've played like 0 games of golf in my life. I've played like 1 game of Top Golf and then of course a little bit of miniature golf. But it's not like a history lesson on the game of golf itself. It's more of a focus in on the players and a lot of the psychological aspects that the players go through in playing in these extremely high level competitive events. And it's been absolutely fascinating to me because it's like whenever you see these kind of players at the extreme like top level of the game, you assume that they're just like all encompassed, all engrossed into the game, and for a large part they are, right? I mean, you're doing this for a living, but you still get to see a lot of their even like these players that are in the literal like top 10 of the world, even the ones that are kind of currently the best ones in the world, still feeling like they aren't good enough and they're playing poorly and they don't have the skills to actually be good at what they're doing. Like it's insane seeing the kind of same problems, issues, and concerns that you run into in the landscape of competitive card games and seeing it kind of reflected similarly in golf. It's been pretty fascinating. And then there's even this group of people that are in kind of the space that I really feel with and I really kind of associate with, in the sense that you know you're never going to be in that like top of the world ranking. You know that you're just going to be in the kind of like mid game, but they're still out there and competing and everything. And it's just because you get 50th, or just because you make the second day in one of these events doesn't mean that you're some kind of failure. It's just a matter of being realistic about your expectations with everything. And I thought it's been, all in all, pretty impressive and pretty interesting and neat. And it's been a good watch. I did used to read a lot of like biographies back in my reading days in my youth. That was my favorite kind of book to go out and read, and so it does have a bit of interest to me, even though it's not within the realms of card gaming and the like. All right, so this is a bit of a bummer now that we focus in on here. We don't have an answer to the Valor. We could look to Formula as a draw to. We're not going to do anything else this turn, right? So let's see what turns up. Okay. This is one of these spots where we we aren't playing Mystic Shots. We're not really going to ever hit anything off of that, but we can take a peek at what's about to come. Then if he plays Gwen, we're pretty dead. We can see what we can do. We need things to go right with this Blood-Cursed Harpy, but we don't have the equipment at the moment. Alright, at least we didn't have to face down a Gwen. That was my major concern for the turn. Interesting. Just like a relentless pursuit to kill a Valor. That seems pretty low value. Maybe he just has a hand completely full of rallies. I think this deck plays a ton. Well, I guess you can also be in the space of being worried about that Blinding Assault just taking down your whole board. So, makes a bit of sense. There's our quick attack. Not on the right dude at the moment, but we did finally pick it up. We have the Cataclysm in hand as well, so if he drops Gwen, we can challenge into her. Effing quiet us, bro. Come on. That's been painful. That's been painful. I was really expecting Quietus to just be kind of gone from the format, right? if you're running around against like elites and stuff, it doesn't do that much. The elites are kind of keeping Nora in check, so I didn't suspect that it was gonna be a card for too much longer. All right, let's see what we can do though. The harp turns up. Alright, fam. You know what's good? You know what's fun in life? Just being super fucking all in. So we picked up the harp. We can catch onto the bird. We can cataclysm off the bird into Gwen. If this goes right, we aren't in a terrible spot anymore. So let's see. Let's see if the turns have tabled. No Vile Feast. No Vile Feast. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, snap. Gonna have to get this Vayne down, though. Again, if we suspect that he just has a handful of rallies, then we're gonna want the Vayne down to block so we don't have to give up our Valor. I guess giving up Valor isn't the worst thing since we do have the Harpy in hand, but I definitely want to make sure we have a blocker on board. And then if he doesn't play anything, we get this free damage in with Vayne, which is kind of cool. I wonder how sick would that be if he's just sitting on like golden Aegiuses and you can't play golden Aegius because you don't have a target? Is that right? Is that how that works? I don't remember. God, as someone that's played so much golden Aegius in my life, I feel like I should know by now, but it would be cool if that was the case. Eternal Dancers. Alright. Well, it's Harpy time. Interesting. So we do at least get good challenges off of the bird now. That feels like a fairly poorly timed Relentless Pursuit. Maybe he just doesn't have anything else to do. If he takes the 6, he's one short of lethal. Interesting. What's that even bring back? Gwen? I guess Gwen is pretty good. Pretty good. So can we lethal off of this? We're gonna have a 6 from here.
Very well.
Right? If we block with Vayne, his units are dead. Then we have 10 damage behind. Might have done it, fam. Well, that the turns tabled on that one pretty quickly. Give you that. Oh, he's at 12 now. Fuck. Fuck. All right. Oh, Andy's got a second Gwen. Come on, come on. I thought we turned it. F. That's bad. I saw the 10. I didn't consider the 2 that he was about to gain off of the Gwen attack. Jeez. Come on. I thought we were so good. I thought we turned it. Mathematics are hard, man. Alright, friend, it's up to you. It's up to you. No pressure.
I should never tire of something so grand.
Alright. Play the song. He's only got 1 card, man. He's only got 1 card. We can beat 1 card, right? No rally. Okay. Okay, fam. Ooh, did we do it? Did we do it? Picking up double Harpy is kind of insane. No. Okay. How much is the snip for? It's like for 1 million, isn't it? Fuck. Alright. Good game. So close. So close. But that feels good, man. As poorly as that game went, getting just completely annihilated by Quietus and then still being in it pretty hard. I think that was nice. That was good stuff. Staying positive on that one. I dug how that went. Okay. Lysandra is only called Ice Witch. She's a blasted parties. I'm curious about the success of Talia Lysandra in the current format as well, as we kind of get in this space to where, as we're into this space to where decks like Elites are so good, Talia Lysandra has that opportunity just to be the biggest blowout deck, right? If you're playing against Elites and you can just throw units in front of them turn after turn after turn, a lot of games come down to just being able to play, you know, your turn 9, I win the game spell. And Talia Lysandra has been held in check for a while by a lot of the Legion Rearguard based decks, but without those running around, I'm curious if it can break in now. I mean, it had to have been like a 48, 49, maybe a 50% win rate deck in the previous format. And so I wondered. I give it some thought. It keeps me up at night, you know. dreaming about them Talia Lysandra decks, because you know why? You know why it's such a big deal? It's because Talia has a pool party skin. Just like Fiora. We should probably be playing Talia Fiora out here. But alright, let's see what happens. We got our Badgerbear on board, the current trump card to old Nora, if you will. Opponent did get to spike the singular portal, but the Badgerbear ready to block, ready to keep her out of action. And this is looking like a pretty decent space for Fiora to start doing stuff. I know this opponent is going to have access to things like Vengeance, but as you have these shitty units like Nora and small things like these little spiderlings on the board, now he's going to have a Husk on the board. You get a lot of options to get free kills with Fiora. See how that plays out. She's coming down, ready to battle. Now, let's say opponent just passes here, right? Do we ever hook the Husk with Fiora so that she gets the sort of free kill? Kind of curious with that. It's certainly not a high value target, but it does help you ramp up to getting OTKs with her. Alright, opponent's got his sweet 3/3 Twisted Catalyzer. Let's see what happens. Green Glade Duo. I got all the answers to your elusives, bro. I got all the answers. Got a quick attack in here. Nope. This is kind of tough. Like if we're wanting to just go for like Fiora based OTKs, the Shepherd's Authority gives her the most health, but she can't block, so she doesn't threaten opponent when they're trying to swing back. Whereas the Fishwhack doesn't really give her any health. So I'll pick it up. We don't have to immediately equip it, right? We can maybe catch the equipment onto Fiora to get a surprise boost in stats or something. Got some opportunities. He's thinking real hard on dropping a spell. Curious if it's going to be like a Black Spear. Does this deck play Black Spears? I don't know what other kind of removal it would be here. Quietus and the Black Spear. So, I mean, we care about the Badgerbear more, right? If we're going to catch the Shepherd's Authority down, we would rather be keeping the Badgerbear than the Combat Cook. Makes sense to me. Soup's off. What do we got? So, I mean, our Fiora is small here, but we do have this formula in hand to refill. It's been kind of crazy how close we are to outvaluing Nora Vagar. Like we're just so close to getting out in front of this. But we do have a lot of opportunity to pop off next turn. If he's going to, well, we can just Shepherd's Authority now, right? It's like, well, we can catch this in, but I don't think we need to catch. We can just condemn down the Ixtali. Uh-oh. We're losing a 6. Which one? We lost our condemn? That kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. Sucks a little less now that we picked up the Harpy. Quick attack. Nope.
You can fix anything with anything. I'll prove it.
All right, so we're about to enter a grind fest, right?
Get shipwrecked. No fixing that.
All right, so we'll spend our mana on the Blinding Assault, but next turn we're going to play the Harpy. So maybe we can get the Blinding Assault onto the Ixtali, and then he has to try and answer the Harpy as best he can. Sounds fine to me.
is cyclical. Darkness ends.
Can change this way, right? Get the Harpy loaded up with Shepherd's Authority. Now Fiora's a little safer. I dig it. Here come the stats, bro.
The element
Stolly number 2.
and the dead.
How much is that one dealing? 3? Okay, give me some more of those. Give me some more of those card draw cards, right? He's starting to turn things around in terms of getting the card advantages happening.
Make the darkness your
All right. Well, he's out of cards at this point, so we have a few options with this. I think we definitely want a Blinding Assault. We can hook in the Husk with Fiora if we want to try and keep these Fiora plays going. Otherwise, you know, it's going to come down to just like having this Ixtali work around, and I think this is fine. Right? If we get the kill onto Fiora, she's going to go up to level 2. He trades his Ixtali for the Harpy. He doesn't take it. So now Fiora is big enough to win a combat against it. Okay.
Easy.
Okay. Okay. We can also just like hook it out of combat, right? I would suspect he's just going to come in and make some... Ooh, Portal Palooza. Many dangers, friend. Many dangers. I guess you have to spend your mana somewhere, but giving us these Fiora opportunities is kind of nice. But no, what I was thinking is if he doesn't get more units on the board, we have the 12 damage from the Fiora and the Harpy. We can just hook the Ixtali Sentinel way down to the right and then try and get the kills with our big boys. But we do have to worry a little bit about, you know, a Mini-Morph coming in, a Vengeance coming in, something to stop those. And so I don't feel spectacular about it, but there's the potential there.
fear, very doubt.
Sharp blade, sharp mind.
Okay, this is going to be a pokey stick or something. We gotta get some value out of these catches. Ooh, and now the Darkened Harp turns up. Let's do this. Oh man, I mean, it's like I kind of just want to get it down as Striatu at this point. Okay, let's wait. It's okay to lose a bird here, I think. And then we'll just follow up. If it really comes down to it, we could catch in the middle of combat here, but I think the Darkened Harp's just too good to pass on.
Gonna be a long night. I'll put on some coffee.
So it's a 3 damage AoE. Well,
Strike quickly, strike try me.
this is where we do it, right? So if he starts playing cards to kill our dudes, then we can potentially catch the Darkened Harp onto Fiora to get the OTK. And so, not a bad set of battles. A nice 7 set of victories. We can pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. And so that, of course, went kind of nicely. That went kind of well. Again, I really like the idea of a lot of these cards in this format, mainly the Darkened Harp and all the tie-ins that it has with it. That's very strong when your opponent's interactivity suites aren't very good. But also getting to tie that in with Fiora, I think this is a pretty spectacular place to be with Fiora and the Badgerbear and the Blood-Cursed Harpy all having 4 health. It's just, as you can see in all of those games, every unit in the game is tiered to be like a 3/3. Like every 2-drop in the game is like a 3/2 that generates value. Every 3-drop in the game is like a 3/3 that generates value. And so having these 4 health units, it lets you just kind of naturally get that virtual card advantage against all of those kind of plays. But as we play against things like elites, I know elites didn't turn up here in our set of games, but having access to units that are bigger than theirs. So if they're just playing the game to where they don't have a battlesmith and they're just putting 3/3s on the board, having access to 4/4s is extremely good. But then also having those quick attack challengers is extremely good there as well. And so I think this one has some real promise to it, some real pop. The places where this is going to struggle is that it's really going to get crushed by Noxus-based aggro. You're just too slow. You don't have the time to recover. You really, really, really have to be like playing a 1-drop bird and trading for a rear guard, and then getting things going with the quick attack challenger on the Quinn bird. And so those kind of spaces are rough. And then the really, really, really deep style control decks like Ezreal Annie are going to be problematic as well. But the stuff in between there, we certainly have a lot of game against. And I think those games showcase that pretty well. Now, the second thought, the second idea I have with this is I'm not certain if this is the best Fiora deck, right? I think Fiora definitely has a lot of potential in this current format. I think there's a lot of merit to playing both the Badgerbear and Fiora, right? You don't have to be playing Elites to play Badgerbear. You can just play it in fucking whatever you want, right? And so I think there is a lot of merit to playing Badgerbear and Fiora together. But is this the best shell for it? Should this be looking more towards, say, like Pantheon, or looking more towards Varus, as to where you're looking to get a little bit more of that OTK style functionality to it, and having kind of a different set of cards that you can use. And so I'm not certain there as to how I feel about that, as to whether or not I would like to leave the Demacia faction, or I'm sorry, leave the PNZ faction, losing out on the Darken Harp, but picking up the Targon stuff can be kind of interesting if you're looking at like a Darken Lodestone as your tool for growing your units. But feels like that starts to kind of flow away from what we're trying to do. But the options are there. And so again, I think Fiora is very well primed in the current format. I just don't know if this is the best Fiora deck, but I think this is a pretty good deck. If any other changes with this, I feel like the 3 copies of the card draw spell were a little bit too much. I could definitely see cutting 1 copy of a card draw spell for something else. But that's the last space as to where I wasn't entirely happy with how things went. And so, good stuff. Not a bad set of games. I had fun. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.